jumpsuit and the handcuffs.
Well, Dr. Anthony Garcia is expected to go before a Douglas County judge Tuesday morning, where he will be charged with 4 murders.
His Chicago attorneys are currently contacting Omaha attorneys to help him out with the case since they aren't licensed to practice law here. Brian Mastery is digging deeper into what happens next. He continues our coverage via 6 View Live. Brian?
Jackie, Joe, we're live at 25th and Cumming. This is the apartment complex where Anthony Garcia lived when he was in the residency program at Creighton University Pathology Department in 2001 before he was fired. Now, we've been doing some more digging. Remember, Garcia went on to get his medical license in Illinois, but every state he tried, he couldn't get it. And he blamed those people for it, investigators say. Last night, a 3-person fugitive team from Omaha brought Dr. Anthony Garcia back to Omaha in this van. Let's look at our video again. While you can't see his face, you can clearly see the orange jumpsuit and the handcuffs. As he begins his time in Omaha, we wondered, is Dr. Garcia separated from the other 1,103 inmates in the building? Jail officials won't say, citing safety and security concerns. We do know Dr. Anthony Garcia spent 8 hours in this van riding from southern Illinois to Nebraska. Well, what did they talk about? We may never know. This is the gate Dr. Garcia went through last night at the Douglas County Jail. One thing is clear when it comes to transporting prisoners and the rules of it, and we've discussed this in past cases, law enforcement is instructed to not talk about the case at all. Just do small talk, and we're presuming there was 8 hours of that. However, the Nebraska Supreme Court in the past has ruled that there is nothing that's against the law with listening, meaning that as long as you're not interrogating the suspect, they can talk, and some of that can be admissible in court.
Mr. Garcia, is that your signature there?
Yes, Your Honor. And while cameras are allowed in some Illinois courtrooms, so we were able to see Tuesday and Wednesday's appearances, that will be it when it comes to video in a courtroom. Douglas County doesn't allow cameras in.
The game is afoot at this point, so the state's got a heavy burden, and we're going to put them to the test.
Garcia's husband and wife defense team out of Chicago, a law firm that represented serial killer John Wayne Gacy, will handle the case here in town, but they don't have a license to practice in the state, so they need a Nebraska lawyer as co-counsel. Channel 6 News has learned they've been making calls and aren't offering payment for the services, but exposure, since this is a quadruple murder case, and you can expect a lot of media coverage. With photographer Justin Cheney, Brian Mastery, Channel 6 News.
The people you know, the news you trust. This is Channel 6 News, live at 5.
As the fugitive team drives Anthony Garcia into the Douglas County Jail, the work of a police task force goes on. Live at 5, what happens next in the quadruple murder case against the doctor from Indiana? Good evening, I'm Jackie Ochoa.
And I'm Joe Chiodo. Well, it has been a whirlwind of a week for the Omaha Task Force. After countless hours of digging through paperwork and building a trail of evidence that led them to Anthony Garcia, the Nebraska justice system gets underway on Tuesday.
Yeah, Brian Mastery has been following the work of detectives and gives us perspective on what happens now. He continues our coverage via 6 View Live. Brian?
Jackie, Joe, this is a case that didn't spark from a tip line. It didn't come from a suspicious neighbor or friend of Dr. Garcia's. It came down to good old-fashioned police work. So here's the latest, the next steps in this case. Dr. Anthony Garcia will go before a judge for bond on Tuesday at 9 a.m. in courtroom 50. A judge will consider the charges, announce a bond. I have to tell you, though, talking to the experts, it's unlikely there will be a bond at all because of the seriousness of the charges and because of the possibility of someone fleeing, facing those charges. As for the task force, its job is not done. Remember, there's plenty of evidence and lab work to be done when they were serving search warrants across the country earlier in the week. They have his car, they have his home in Terre Haute, they have the car that believed was his back in 2008 that they think placed at the Dundee murder site. Investigators believe, however, he has had an axe to grind, and so that was the motive in all of this. And then if you use Anthony Garcia's own words, consider this. When he went before the Indiana Medical Licensing Board, he was, quote, essentially fired, he said, from New York. We know about what detectives believe started his grudge, getting fired from the Creighton pathology residency after 11 months on the job 12 years ago. He left the program in Chicago. He says he was again essentially fired from Shreveport, Louisiana. And this doesn't even account for his unsuccessful attempts to get medical licenses in California, Texas, Indiana, and Kentucky. In fact, the only state where he has a license is Illinois, and that is where he was arrested. As for Garcia's attorneys, the Chicago husband and wife team of Bob and Allison Mata, they don't have a license to practice here in Nebraska, so they need someone with a license, so a co-counsel, if you will. We've been told by some of attorneys who have been contacted that they have an asking price, but it isn't money in this case, so the co-counsel wouldn't essentially be paid. They would instead be paid for publicity and exposure in what would come from a quadruple murder case. Reporting live from the county jail, I'm Brian Mastery, Channel 6 News.